The 2018 French national team went on to win the World Cup 2018 in Russia from the likes of Paul Pogba, Kylian Mbappe, and Antoine Griezmann. However, I am here to explain why this World Cup win may have been a fluke and that they might not perform as well come Euro 2021. The first thing we should discuss is France's World Cup qualifying campaign and how they fared against the likes of Sweden, the Netherlands, Bulgaria, Luxembourg, and many more. France had a pretty solid World Cup qualifying campaign. However, draws to both Luxembourg and Belarus and a loss to Sweden severely hurt their FIFA World Ranking and their status as a contender for the World Cup. Even with some of these suspect results, France would ultimately play friendlies later on after the qualification process against the likes of Russia, Ireland, Italy, the US, and Colombia. France would lose to Colombia and draw to the United States in both shocking results in which France hosted both of those matches. With all these results though, the French fans still kept believing, as France were drawn into Group C in probably the easiest group of the tournament with Denmark, Peru, and Australia. France would ultimately top Group C with 2 wins and a draw, but not in any sort of exciting fashion, as Paul Pogba would score in the 81st minute from a deflection goal checked by VAR, and then Olivier Giroud would have his deflected shot chipped over the Peruvian keeper for Kylian Mbappe's first ever World Cup goal. While their third and final game was against Denmark, in which they would draw 0-0 with a selected B team side, as some would say. Nonetheless, France were into the round of 16, facing a very poor Argentinian side who had barely qualified for the World Cup 2018, and the only thing carrying them was that of Lionel Messi. France would ultimately win the match 4-3 in a very back-and-forth match with 2 goals from Kylian Mbappe, ultimately sending Lionel Messi back to his home. People seemed to overhype France for this win, as they thought they had beaten an Argentinian side comparable to the 2014 World Cup final, which is completely false. Argentina was dealing without their first or second string keeper and had to go with Armani in goal, who conceded arguably 2 very savable shots from Kylian Mbappe. Nonetheless, after France's pretty poor performance versus Argentina, France were into the quarterfinals against the Uruguay side without Edinson Cavani, who was their best player by far in the tournament. Cavani's absence proved extremely crucial for Uruguay in this match due to their original 2-striker formation with Suarez and Cavani, which had caused so much havoc for Portugal in the match before. However, Rafael Varane's header and Antoine Griezmann's shot, in which Muslera put into his own net, were enough for France to get by through this round. However, these 2 matches in the knockout stages versus Argentina and Uruguay show how fortunate France truly were, along with their extremely easy group. France had played a very weak Argentinian side with Armani in goal and Lionel Messi having to carry. Along with this, the Uruguay side dealt with Cavani's injury and an extremely unfortunate event through that of Muslera. France ultimately had their sights on the World Cup trophy, facing Belgium, their toughest opponent by far, with Belgium's full squad almost ready, except with the crucial absence of Thomas Meunier, probably their most crucial player in the squad, for Belgium lacking the wingback position. With the absence of Thomas Meunier, Belgium would be forced to play a narrow formation with the inclusion of Moussa Dembele in the side, which is something they were not used to doing, especially going up against a park-the-bus side like France. They could not create their chances like they normally did. The French manager Didier Deschamps knew Belgium would struggle without Thomas Meunier, and therefore would use a park-the-bus counterattack style of play in order to prevent Belgium from using the counterattack or creating any chances with the absence of Thomas Meunier. And once they went 1-0 up, there was no coming back, as Belgium did not have that right back to cross in the ball as Thomas Meunier so ordinarily does. France were now through to the World Cup final. This is what they had worked so hard for, and their fortune had guided them to. And just as you think their luck may have ran out, no, it only increased from there. Daniel Subasic, the Croatian keeper, had torn his hamstring during this game, and as well, Croatia had played 3 extra time matches before this. Croatia were dead, and France, coming off the park-the-bus counterattack tactics, knew they were going to win this game with ease. The score would finish 4-2, as Kylian Mbappe, Paul Pogba, Antoine Griezmann, and an own goal from Croatia would seal the deal, and France were world champions. While reflecting back upon this World Cup, many viewers will state that none of these unfortunate events that occurred to teams such as Croatia, Argentina, Uruguay, or Belgium, or any team that France had played, was France's fault, and they're right. While correlating with this, people will also ask, how is this a fluke if it's not France's fault? Well, the way and manner in which France dealt with these events, such as the damages being dealt to the likes of Belgium, Croatia, and Uruguay, and then just a poor Argentinian side, and then only beating them by 1 or 2 goals, show how inconsistent and not great France was as a side. Even though people still see these facts and statements, but still deny that France were a fluke at the World Cup 2018, this leads me to my final point, the UEFA Nations League. In 2019, France would compete in the UEFA Nations League, the first ever held competition from UEFA, alongside Netherlands and Germany in their group. France would come second in their group, losing to Netherlands by goal difference, even though the Netherlands had not even qualified for the World Cup in 2018. How could the quote-unquote best team in the world not go to the Final Four only a year after their World Cup performance? People will also question now how Belgium didn't make it to the Final Four if Belgium was supposedly the best team in the world. However, Belgium had to play their last game in Switzerland, which is one of the toughest atmospheres in Europe, along with missing the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Yannick Carrasco, Romelu Lukaku, and Jan Vertonghen. Ultimately, I believe France will show their true colors next year at Euro 2021, as they will play in the group of death alongside Germany, Portugal, and possibly Iceland. This will force Didier Deschamps and the French squad to play their absolute best and show the world that the World Cup 2018 was not a fluke. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and hit that like button. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching.